my little fearless friends. How are you guys? Welcome back to a new episode of The New Unfiltered. I'm your host, Alexa Curtis. If you celebrated Christmas or Hanukkah, Thanksgiving, literally anything, if you are as relieved as I am that it is over, then welcome to the party. There's a real party, though, I guess, on Sunday, which is New Year's Eve. And if you are really sad that it is over and anxious about the new year, don't worry because New Year's brings so many new opportunities and experiences. I've actually never been as excited about a new year as I am this year because 2023 was not my year. I know it looked like it was my year on the internet and my career did do really well, but a lot of other stuff happened. And so I'm just going to say that I am really looking forward to closing this year out. I am heading to my other apartment for pretty much half of January before getting back into my London place. And so, because of that, I am going to be spending some time just figuring out next steps for Alexa Curtis Consulting. On that note, I will say that something I have been doing lately is in my journal every morning, instead of just writing goals, I literally have been saying by March, April, the amount in my notebook, like writing this down with a pencil. I love pencils. I got this box of pink pencils and they're amazing. I have been writing down by March/April, this is how much money I want to be making a month. This is how I'm going to get there. And this is where I am now. I find that three goals, I have one for career, one for my apartment, and one for my personal life, is actually really keeping me on track. And I feel really accomplished, especially if I sign, for example, a new client for AC consulting, because I feel like I'm on my way to hitting those goals. So if you are feeling right now like you're a little bit stuck and you don't know how to get to the next chapter, the next phase, whatever that may be, then maybe you should try writing down something like this in your journal. This is where you are now. This is how much you want to be making in 3 months, and this is how you're going to get there. These steps don't have to be crazy big, but they need to be realistic and they also need to be attainable and they also need to inspire you to work your little ass off to get there. Before I get into this episode, I wanted to remind you to subscribe to Stay Fearless or Die Trying, my weekly newsletter about being fearless and unfiltered with interviews and other founders. I've also got a premium newsletter subscription where I have had the chance in the past few months since launching to coach and help a lot of founders scale their businesses as well as scale their newsletters. So go to the show notes to find out more about Stay Fearless or Die Trying and sign up. There's the free version and then there's the premium version where you get a media kit, a media list, and a call with me or multiple calls with me if you think that I'm helping you build your own brand. So today's guest is very special. Laurel Gallucci is the co-founder and CEO of Sweet Laurel Bakery. If you've never been to Los Angeles, but you have access to an Instagram account, you've probably seen Sweet Laurel on Instagram. The Instagram account, the food, the bakery is phenomenal. This woman started Sweet Laurel out of essentially her home. She was a school teacher and a Pilates instructor, and ultimately ended up creating one of the most popular paleo, sugar-free, healthy bakeries, and actually healthy bakeries in LA. She co-founded it as well with a super famous food blogger, Claire, who started The Kitchen. And so this dynamic duo is just a phenomenal example of woman in business and what you can create. Now, when I first went to LA years ago, I beelined for Sweet Laurel. I could barely afford anything in the store. It's in the Pacific Palisades, right next to Erewhon in Los Angeles. And since I went in their first bakery, they've expanded into a product line. They've got bakery kits, they've got nationwide shipping, and it's just phenomenal. Laurel came by the Kin, which is where I film some episodes of The New Unfiltered in Venice, to sit down with me and do this interview. Unfortunately, the audio was not that good for this interview. We ended up getting kicked out of the studio and recorded in the bottom of the co-working space. And so I had to kind of cut up the best parts of this interview so that you guys can hear it the best. So I seriously apologize, but I hope that you do feel really inspired from this episode. I know that editing it, I felt even more inspired. So make sure to follow Sweet Laurel on social media as well as The New Unfiltered, and stay tuned for more episodes coming up next week and throughout the rest of 2024. I've got some great guests who I'm super hyped to introduce you guys to. So without further ado, meet Laurel Gallucci, the founder of Sweet Laurel. How did you even know to like make these recipes? You're coming up with them?
Yeah.
Okay.
It was like, I don't know. I've always been a DIY type person, first of all. I've always been into baking. And it just started like happening in the sense that like I was like, oh, this is actually really easy. I don't have to use gluten, I don't have to use sugar, I don't have to use all the normal things that people use to bake. And I was able to just kind of create my own recipes. And when I saw how simple it was and how certain ratios of ingredients worked with different things, I was like, this is easy.
Yeah.
I got this. So I brought over a chocolate caramel cake to her house one day, and she was just like, what is this? This is so good. And I would say it was like a domino effect after that. We opened our cake shop, we launched our first and second cookbooks, we started shipping cakes nationwide, and now we really feel like the next step is grocery store.
Okay, but entrepreneurship is so hard. What were you doing before you started Sweet Laurel?
Yeah. So I was actually a school teacher before starting Sweet Laurel.
Yeah, so back in 2015, like the paleo, gluten-free, I don't feel like that trend had started until maybe.
It was there, but it was super like granola, if you will. It wasn't like no one was doing it with like the aesthetic that Sweet Laurel brings to the table, and I think that's why so many people could relate to it. It was not like this in-your-face paleo caveman brand.
Yeah.
It was very different. And in that better for you space, and to still have so many different types of people, whether they're diabetic or gluten-free or vegan or nut-free or whatever their deal is, find Sweet Laurel.
Yeah.
So it really appeals to lots of different people. And
You self-funded this?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It's like
anything
crazy.
Like that.
Like we are just now, 2023, taking on investors for the first time. People wanted to come and experience Sweet Laurel, and like it was really funny. Like the first summer we launched the brand, Goop did an article.
That makes a lot of sense, and I love that store. I mean, I know a lot of things now are online, but I think going into somewhere and being able to like take a photo, and especially when it's such beautiful product, and Instagram, it would obviously create such a strong brand reputation. So when we met at an event during Tech Week, you had said something I actually really didn't realize about once you expand into stores. I think you had said something like, a lot of stores want you to give like a bunch of product to them, and then the way that they put it on the shelves,
It's a whole thing.
I'm like, wow, this is a company that I've known your company for so long. I couldn't even believe that like they wouldn't just immediately put you in the center of the Whole Foods aisle.
No.
So what is that experience?
It's like so hard to actually get into a store.
Yeah.
First of all, like we have our eyes set on getting into Whole Foods right now, and we're trying everything we can, right? But like you don't just get in by being like who you are. Like it's like you have to like actually go through a whole process, and then when you get on the shelves, there's things called free fills where you give product to every store for free.
How much?
Like usually a case, which is like 6 units of product across every store. So that's up.
So say there's like 100 Sprouts stores.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, not naming Sprouts as an example, but like a lot of stores have you do like these free fills, and that's like how you like first start with the store, and then you have to continually sell after that. So it's a big upfront cost and investment, and so it's not easy. It's a whole nother world for us to navigate.
Do you have to like cold call 7-Eleven, or someone on the sales team does, or it's you?
So we don't have a sales team yet. So we have used outside brokers for certain retailers. A lot of times, like with certain retailers, like you need a broker specific to that retailer, which we've utilized. We've actually met our 7-Eleven buyer at Expo West.
Okay. Those in-person networking conferences are so important.
So like Expo West was, we've done the show twice now. Hardest 3 days of my life. So Sweet Laurel can be found at Sweet Laurel Bakery on Instagram, sweetlaurel.com for our e-commerce business. And then, like I said, we're nationwide at Sprouts. In California, we're in Gelson's, Bristol Farms, Lazy Acres, Erewhon.
See, you guys, that episode was too good. I know that elements of the audio were totally shit, but Laurel is a busy woman, and so I didn't want to go back to her and ask her to come back in the studio because I knew I would be able to get exactly what I needed from this episode, which was her incredibly inspirational story. So hope you guys feel as inspired as I do listening to Laurel. If you're in LA, go head to Sweet Laurel and grab one of her incredible items. I swear you will leave the store feeling better after eating a cupcake or a piece of cake. It is crazy. And make sure to follow Sweet Laurel as well as the New Unfiltered on social media. I'll see you back next week for a new episode of the New Unfiltered.